My daughter had her first panic attack on the front lawn. I held her, rocked her, tried to calm her down. Our neighbor stood on his porch and said, "You people love to perform, don't you?" We went inside. A few days later, a flyer was taped around the block. "Dramatic teen on the loose. Keep your kids safe." It had a blurred photo of her, taken from his window. I reported it. He denied everything. But he didn't know, she had been on a Zoom therapy call when it happened. And her laptop had recorded his voice. I never thought I'd write something like this. But when you're a parent, there's a line. Once someone crosses it, you don't just get angry. You get focused. You do whatever it takes to protect your kid. We've lived in Athens, Georgia, for 8 years. Quiet neighborhood, decent schools, mostly older folks. Our house is on a cul-de-sac with 12 other homes, the kind of place where people wave but mostly keep to themselves. My daughter Kayla is 17. She's kind. Quiet. Loves animals and drawing. She's also been dealing with anxiety since middle school. It got worse during the pandemic. She has panic attacks sometimes, usually mild, but they hit her hard. We've done everything we can, therapy, meds, breathing techniques. Some days are good. Some days, not so much. That Thursday started out normal. Hot as hell, typical Georgia summer. I was out front working in the flower bed, earbuds in, trying to get some weeding done before the afternoon sun hit. I didn't even hear the front door open. But I sure heard it slam. Kayla was running toward me, barefoot, shaking. Her arms wrapped around her chest. Her eyes were wide like she couldn't see straight. "Mom, I can't breathe," she choked out, her voice breaking. She dropped to her knees on the lawn. Her hands were clawing at the grass like she was trying to hang on to something. Her whole body was shaking. I threw my gloves and ran to her. Pulled her into my arms. She was ice cold and sweating. Her heart was going a mile a minute. She was crying, gasping, couldn't get a full breath. I held her, rocked her gently, whispered to her to follow my breathing. 4 in, hold 4 out. You're safe. I'm here. And then I heard it. A voice. "Jesus Christ," it said. "You people love to perform, don't you?" I looked up. Across the street, standing on his porch with a drink in his hand, was Greg Hansen. Cargo shorts, greasy t-shirt, flip-flops, holding a can of Miller Lite like it was 2 p.m. at a frat party. He was just watching us like we were some kind of show. He had this stupid smirk on his face. Like he was enjoying it. I stared at him. I didn't say a word. If I had opened my mouth, I might have said something I couldn't take back. I just picked Kayla up and took her inside. I got her to the couch, got her water, sat with her until she calmed down. It took over an hour. We didn't talk about what he said. I didn't want to put that on her. She had enough going on. I thought that would be it. Just a miserable moment from a miserable man. I was wrong. 3 days later, I was walking our dog, Scout, around the block. That's when I saw it. A flyer taped to the stop sign. Red letters. Big and bold. It said, "Dramatic teen on the loose. Keep your kids safe." And under that was a blurry photo. Of my daughter. Taken from the side. On the lawn. During the panic attack. I stared at it. Couldn't move. My stomach dropped. I tore it down. Looked around. Found another one on the mailbox cluster. Another one on the light post. One on the church bulletin board at the end of the street. I took every single one down. My hands were shaking. I wanted to scream. To break something. I didn't even know what to tell my husband. I didn't tell Kayla. I couldn't. She was already on edge. I couldn't let her know someone had taken a picture of her while she was having an attack and made a joke out of it. I called the police. Told them everything. They sent an officer, took a report, took the flyers. But when I said I was pretty sure it was Greg across the street, the officer just shrugged. "Hard to prove," he said. Greg denied it. Of course he did. "No idea what you're talking about," he said when I walked up to confront him. "Maybe your kid's got some kind of admirer." Then he winked. Actually winked. I could feel my fists ball up. But I didn't take the bait. He thought he was clever. But he didn't know what I had. Kayla had been on a Zoom therapy session when it happened. She had her laptop open. She took it outside when she started to feel anxious. She never closed it. And the mic had stayed on. The therapists recorded the sessions as part of their program. I knew it, Kayla knew it. It's part of the practice, so they can go back and review if needed. That night, after Kayla went to bed, I emailed her therapist and asked for the session recording. She sent it to me within an hour. I played it with headphones. And there it was. At minute 27, Kayla's voice, panicked. My voice calming her. And then, in the background, his voice. You people love to perform, don't you? Clear. Sharp. No mistaking it. I sat there for a long time, just listening to it on a loop. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. He thought he was untouchable. That he could mock my daughter and smear her in public and no one could stop him. He didn't know I had his voice. On tape. Connected to the moment that photo was taken. That's when I decided. If the cops wouldn't do anything, I would. Not just for my daughter, but for every person who's ever been mocked for something they couldn't control. I started planning. I didn't sleep that night. I watched the recording 3 more times, then started writing everything down. Times, dates, what he said, what I saw, what the flyer looked like. I printed the audio transcript from the session. I printed still frames of Kayla's video where she's looking toward Greg's house. I printed screenshots from the Zoom timestamp. I made a damn binder. The next morning, I went to the police station. I asked to speak to the officer who took the report. I sat down with him and laid out everything. Step by step. When I played the clip of Greg's voice, the officer's expression changed. He leaned forward. That's pretty clear, he said. You think? I snapped. He nodded slowly. I can send this to the DA. It might fall under harassment, maybe even stalking if we can prove the photo came from his window. But I could tell he wasn't confident. He was being cautious. So I went a step further. I called the HOA. I told them I believed a neighbor had posted unauthorized flyers on shared neighborhood property, mailboxes, lampposts, bulletin boards. I mentioned harassment, photos of a minor, and a potential police report. That got their attention. The HOA board called an emergency meeting. I was invited to speak. I showed up with the binder. I kept it simple. I told them exactly what happened, what Greg said, what he did, and what we had recorded. I handed out copies of the transcript. I left out the therapist's name and personal details. I kept it focused on the facts. One of the board members, a retired lawyer, looked furious. He took a picture of your daughter during a medical episode and made flyers mocking her? Yes. He said this while she was having the attack? He asked, holding up the transcript. Yes. They went quiet. That night, I saw something new on the neighborhood app. Someone anonymously posted a message. If you're the one who put up the flyers mocking that teen, you're disgusting. I'm not the only one who saw you printing them at the UPS store on Prince Avenue. The store has cameras, genius. My heart jumped. Whoever posted that, bless them. 2 hours later, Greg posted on the same app, something like, people need to stop spreading lies about me. My lawyer will be contacting anyone defaming my character. But it was too late. The neighborhood turned on him. Fast. Then came the twist I didn't expect. The local high school counselor called me. Someone had dropped off one of the flyers at the school. Anonymously. Slipped it under the office door. They wanted to warn them about Kayla. They had her picture now. In the school system. In her file. I went cold. Someone had tried to label her as a threat. This wasn't just petty anymore. This was an attack on her future. That's when I knew Greg wasn't working alone. Someone helped him. And I was going to find out who. I didn't say anything to Kayla about the school flyer. I couldn't. Not yet. She was having a better week, and I needed time to figure things out. I went back to the school counselor. Sat in her office, face to face. Do you know who left the flyer? I asked. She shook her head. There's no camera in the office hallway. But the janitor said he found it early. Between 6:30 and 6:45 a.m. Only a few people are on campus that early. Admin staff, some teachers, custodians. I asked her to check if any parents had been in the building that morning. She couldn't give me names, but she gave me a hint. There was one parent who came by to talk about their kids' safety concerns. She said carefully. She didn't file anything official. Just said she wanted to speak privately. Mentioned your daughter by name. She didn't say it, but I knew. She was protecting herself from legal trouble. But I could read between the lines. I only knew of one family that had ever had an issue with Kayla, and it was nonsense. Their daughter, Riley, had a falling out with Kayla last year over some drama in art class. Kayla walked away from it, but the other girl didn't. Her mom, Jennifer McCaskey, had been cold to me ever since. Jennifer had a lot of opinions about toughness and mental strength. She'd posted online before about snowflakes needing discipline, not therapy. She was friends with Greg. Always waving at him, laughing too loud when they talked. It started to make sense. The flyers. The timing. The school. I dug deeper. I remembered something from the HOA meeting. One of the board members had said they saw Greg at the UPS store. So I drove there. I played dumb, asked the guy at the counter if anyone had printed neighborhood flyers recently. He didn't say much, until I asked about a man with a beard and a camo hat. "Oh yeah," the clerk said. "Him and a blonde lady. Printed like 30 flyers. Paid in cash. That was it. Greg and Jennifer. He took the photo. She helped spread them. I went home and sat in my car for 20 minutes, staring at my front door. I had a clear case of harassment. Maybe even conspiracy. But what I felt in that moment wasn't just anger. It was something deeper. This was a plan. A two-person effort to publicly destroy my daughter's name. And it wasn't just because of the panic attack. They didn't like the idea of a girl like Kayla. A girl with emotions. A girl who didn't suck it up. A girl who asked for help. They wanted to label her dangerous. Unstable. They wanted people to avoid her. And I had to stop it before it stuck. I could have gone to the police again. Could have waited for the HOA to take further steps. But I knew how that would go. They'd issue warnings. Maybe a fine. Maybe nothing. I wasn't going to let this die in a file drawer. So I made a plan. First, I went to the high school. I sat down with the assistant principal, guidance counselor, and school board rep. I brought the Zoom recording. The flyer. A copy of the statement from the UPS store clerk. Then I told them everything. What Greg said. What Jennifer helped him do. And how they tried to slip a lie into my daughter's file and damage her future. The counselor's face turned white. The assistant principal just nodded slowly. "We'll open an investigation," she said. I wasn't done. I posted everything on our neighborhood Facebook group. I included the transcript of the recording. I uploaded a still frame of Kayla's therapy session with the timestamp, showing Greg's voice in the background. I posted the statement from the UPS store. Then I said, "If any of you wonder what kind of man Greg Hansen is, or the kind of woman Jennifer McCaskey is, here's your proof. This is what they did to a 17-year-old girl who was just trying to survive her worst moment. This is who you've been waving at. This is who's been smiling in your face." The post blew up. Dozens of comments. Then hundreds. Neighbors were disgusted. Parents were furious. Someone shared the post to a local watchdog page. Then it hit the Athens Community Board. Within 48 hours, it had over 3,000 shares. Then came the fallout. Greg's job found out. He worked for a small HVAC company. His boss posted a comment publicly. "We do not condone this behavior. Greg Hansen is no longer employed with us." Jennifer didn't fare better. She volunteered at the school's PTA. The principal issued a formal statement banning her from campus events indefinitely pending legal review. I got an email from the school's superintendent. They were reviewing their parent access policy because of what happened. And then, karma finally landed hard. Kayla's therapist offered to write a formal complaint to the city for harassment. She attached the recording. I signed off. Greg and Jennifer were issued restraining orders. They were told to stay away from our family, and from the school. But even after all that, it didn't feel finished. Not really. Not until 2 weeks later. Greg's wife, who rarely left the house, walked over to our door. Alone. Quiet. I saw her through the window and hesitated before opening it. She looked tired. Worn down. Her hands shook. "I didn't know," she said softly. "I thought you should hear that. I didn't know what he was doing." I nodded. I didn't trust her either, not fully. But she seemed broken in a way only truth can do. "He's staying with his brother now," she said. "And I'm filing for divorce." She turned and left. That was the final blow. Not from me. From his own choices. The last time I saw Greg, he was loading boxes into an old truck. Alone. No wave. No smirk. Just a man walking away from the mess he made. And Kayla? She knows now. I told her everything. She cried, then asked, "Why would someone hate me like that?" I didn't have a good answer. But I told her this. Sometimes, people hate what they don't understand. And they attack what they fear. But that doesn't mean they win. She's still in therapy. Still healing. But she walks a little taller now. And so do I. Because when someone tries to destroy your child's spirit, you don't just fight back. You burn the lie down. And you make damn sure they never forget what it cost them.